Hey man, you're here for the interview?
Hey, yep, here for the interview. What about you?
Me too. So how's it going?
Well, I guess okay, because I have relevant experience in GCP and Snowflake for over 3 years. And I also have a data engineer certification in GCP and the same in Snowflake as well. So I'm feeling confident. What about you?
Well, I was feeling a little nervous before, but then I talked to some people and I got to know that what I have is a lot. Like I have 7 certifications in GCP, in data engineering, in ML, in network, in security and everything. And I have also 4 certifications on Snowflake. So I think I'll be okay with the interview.
Wow, well, 7 certifications in GCP and 4 in Snowflake is awesome. But are not you like a data engineer? What's the point of doing certifications in security and ML and network?
Well, that's a good question. The reason that I did that is because
The reason I'm asking is that they might ask the same thing in the interview.
you're right, they can. So I did that because I wanted to learn.
Hello everyone, this is Josh and I'm a data engineer at Google, and today's video is going to be all about certifications. A lot of people have asked me whether certifications add value or not. Even if they do, which ones should I do first and how should I prepare for them? So this video is going to be perfect to answer all of these questions. I'm going to divide this video into 2 different parts. First part is going to be about which certification should you take in all different domains of data, not just data engineering. And second, it's going to be about how should you prepare for these certifications. But before we go into that, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Hit that bell icon as well. So let's jump right in. At a very high level, there are 2 types of certifications. First is the good types of certifications, which are given by companies like AWS, Azure, GCP, etc. And they verify your skills. Basically, what you have to do is go onto their website, book a certification. You have to pay some registration fees, can be in the order of $150 to even $300. And after paying the fee, you choose the time for an exam. They take you an exam and it's a proctored exam. So somebody is monitoring you all the time, whether you're online or giving this exam on an exam center. And ultimately, if you pass, you get the certification and it has a lot of market value. Now, second type of certifications are the ones that you get on websites like Coursera or Udemy, etc, etc. Basically the teaching websites certifications. Now, whatever course that you purchase on Coursera or Udemy, ultimately when you complete them, there may or may not be some quiz section that comes up, and most of those questions are very easy, or even if not, they are readily available on Google. So those kind of certifications do not add a lot of value, and they are also not proctored. For this video, mostly I'm going to be focusing about the first type of certification. So until now, I have had multiple certifications: AWS Cloud Practitioner, Developer Associate, Operations Associate, Solutions Architect Associate, GCP Professional Data Engineer, and Snowflake SnowPro Core. I also have done some second types of certifications. If you go onto my LinkedIn and if you scroll a little down, you'll see that I have some certifications like Taming Big Data with Python on Udemy and all that. Now, I know that these certifications don't add a lot of value. So if you look at my resume, I am not mentioning them. A lot of times what happens is, in order to give, let's say, an AWS examination, you end up taking a Udemy course, and for that also you get a certification. So you kind of had 2 birds with 1 stone. But again, even in that scenario, I would recommend putting the main certification in your resume, not the second one. Now, even when it comes to the certifications which are provided by big organizations and which has proctored exams, there are so many different certifications to choose from. So how do you figure out which is the right one for you? Well, usually it starts with IT fundamentals or Python certifications. I would say it's better to just skip those and jump directly onto the second level, which is cloud-based certifications. Now, for data engineers, data analysts, or data scientists, most of the time you're going to be working on cloud. Which cloud platform to work on? Well, if you have already been working on, let's say, Azure, then it's best to take an Azure certification. But if you want to now pivot to a different cloud platform like GCP, for example, then it's also okay if you go with the GCP one. So it depends, first of all, your experience. Second, where do you want to go in the future? And third, what is the job requirement, obviously. Now, all these different types of cloud platform, the good part is 80% of them are very much similar, whether I talk about AWS or Azure or GCP. So it doesn't matter which one you learn, most of the services will be similar. It's just that it will have different names and availability zones and regions and whatnot. Now, each cloud platform has a plus point and also some minus points. For example, AWS has the biggest market share, and it also has most number of availability zones, regions, and also most number of services for different types of use cases. Then when we talk about Azure is like an enterprise cloud where it's preferred by people who have already adopted to using Office 365 products, or it also has some famous good services like Azure Data Factory or Azure DevOps. When it comes to GCP is the fastest growing cloud compared to all three of them. And GCP also has good data and analytics capability services like Vertex AI when you talk about data science or machine learning. And it also has famous services like BigQuery. But as I said, most of the cloud platforms are similar. So you basically have to pick depending on this criteria I mentioned before. Let's say you have chosen your cloud platform. For an example, I'm going to say that let's say you chose AWS. Then which certification should you take? Let's start with this. So in most of the cloud platforms, you'll find this type of categories. The first one is foundational, where it's a knowledge-based certification on just the fundamental concepts of AWS. And this is called AWS Cloud Practitioner. Second is associate level certification. Now, depending on what track you are, you can opt for solutions architect, developer, or Sys Ops admin. Now, I generally tell people to just skip the foundational one because it's just too basic, and you're going to end up spending a lot of money and spending a lot of your time in getting a certification that is not really worth that much. And also, most of the companies have a way to reimburse your certifications. So do ask with your manager, whatever your company you're working in. It's usually the case that if you pass the certification, they will reimburse you, but if you fail, then they will not. So I would say the first one, the cloud practitioner here, is very basic. You can completely skip that. Then second type of certification is the solution architect one, because it has required depth of knowledge which is required in the industry, and also it covers a lot of AWS basic services. After that, you can opt for professional certifications. So you can see the solution and DevOps engineer are there. So for example, if you go for solutions architect, professional, it's just that the difficulty raises from an associate level to professional level. Now, let's say if you're a data engineer, then I would say out of these three sections of certifications that we saw, I think you should focus on the solutions architect associate one, and then you should directly jump onto the specialty ones. Let's take a look at them. So specialty ones usually deep dive into a particular area. So you can see, depending if you're in data analysis, then you should go for data analytics specialty. If you are a data scientist or an ML engineer, then it makes more sense to go into the ML specialty as well. If you are a data engineer, then it makes more sense to take this exam, which is the AWS Certified Big Data Specialty or Professional Data Engineer. So this is what I would recommend, not just for AWS, for any cloud platform that you work on. Let's take a similar example on GCP so that you understand better. So when it comes to GCP, you should go with the associate certification. Always skip the foundational one. It's usually super easy and does not have that much of value. You should go with the cloud engineer certification, and then if let's say you are a data engineer, then you should go with the professional data engineer certification. If you are a data analyst, then the second certification should change for you. If you are a DevOps engineer, then again that would change for you. Alright, after that there are also some tool level certifications, for example certification for Snowflake or Databricks. Now if you are working in Snowflake, and if you want to work in Snowflake, I would suggest taking Snowflake SnowPro core certification. This is like a solutions architect certification in AWS. It covers all the basic services and features, but it doesn't go too deep into any one of them. If you have been working on Snowflake for a very long time, or if you know that you only want to work in Snowflake, then there are 4 different specialty certifications for them as well. You can take them, but I wouldn't say that it's required. It depends on whether you see Snowflake as the tool that you will be working on for a very long time or not. Then the second one, similar in this category, is the Databricks certification. So in Databricks also there are multiple types of certification. For example, depending on your role, if you are a data analyst, then you have a Lakehouse Data Analyst Associate. If you are a data engineer, then you have Data Engineer Associate or Data Engineer Professional. But these certifications you should do only if you are working in Databricks or if you want to work in Databricks. But Databricks also provides Spark certifications. Now, I'm not sure whether you know it, but so one of the founders of Spark is working right now in Databricks. So Databricks have their own Spark runtime, which is faster compared to the open source Spark. So they are kind of the masters of Spark, I would say. So they have a Spark certification called Spark Developer Associate. And this particular certification has tremendous value even if you are not going to be working in Databricks. This basically certifies that you are a data engineer who knows very well about Spark. But I think this is also an expensive one compared to the AWS GCP, all those certifications that we saw, that was around the $150 range. This is around the $300 range. Oh, and I told you about the reimbursement process if your company supports it. But for example, in AWS, if you clear one certification, then you get 50% off in the second one. You get a coupon, so you can utilize those discounts as well. After that, there are some project management certifications. Now, this doesn't apply if you are a fresher, but this does apply if you have 2, 3 or more years of experience in the industry, and maybe you have been promoted, you are managing some people or a small team within you. Then these types of certifications like agile based certification, project management certifications have a lot of value. You can also do certification specifically on tools like Jira for project management. This basically certifies that you know all the features of Jira and you can be a good, let's say, Scrum Master or product owner, etc., etc. And after that, the last types of certification are very niche certifications. So for example, one is Neo4j certification. So Neo4j is a graph database, and if you've been working on Neo4j a lot, similarly we have certifications for MongoDB. So these are very niche certifications, and in terms of priority, again, go with the same order that I mentioned before. Pick a cloud one first, one basic cloud one, then depending on your specialty, then go with either Snowflake or Databricks if you're not working in any one of them. But as a data engineer, I would definitely recommend going for the Spark Databricks certification. And then third type of certifications are project management, and fourth are niche certifications. So it's completely okay if you cannot reach to third or fourth level. If you are good with first and second levels of certifications, as I mentioned, that will be more than enough to get a lot of value in your resume. Also, doing certifications help a lot in system design rounds where now you are understanding different concepts, different services, different tools, so you know which ones to pick for your particular system. So doing certifications will indirectly help you in system design rounds. Okay, so that was about the first part of the video where we discussed what certifications to take. Now let's jump to the second part of video, which is how should you prepare for your certification. Now obviously the courses that you take for your certification will change according to what certification that is, but I have some general tips that I've been following a lot throughout. So, and this applies to any kind of certification that you are going for. So number one tip is, let's say I've been already working on GCP and now I want to go for GCP data engineering certification. The first thing you should do, just book an exam date after 1 month and then start preparing. And if you are not working in that cloud platform, let's say I've never worked on GCP, but I want to do its certification, then in that case, just pick an exam date of 1.5 or 2 months down the line and then start preparing for it. So a lot of times people, start preparing for certifications and then say that whenever they feel ready, they are going to book the exam. But this is a wrong approach, because more often than not, life will get in your way. You might have more work than you would have imagined, or maybe you wanted to go on a vacation. So you will keep delaying studying, and eventually you'll also keep delaying the certification exam date. So it's always better to book an exam date before even you start preparing, so that you're motivated enough for that certification by that date comes. And in terms of how many hours should you study, I try to stick around 2 hours per day, whether it's a weekday or weekend. Sometimes it happens then on a weekday I might study only for 1 hour, but I'll cover for that in the weekend by studying for 3 hours. So on an average, 2 hours a day is more than enough. Let's say you have 1 month left to prepare for your certification. In terms of your preparation strategy, I would divide your time into 3 different parts. First, 40% of the time should go into going through the course. Now this can be a Udemy or Coursera or any etc. or a Cloud Guru course, for example, where you are learning for the certification. 40% of your time should go into this course. This can also contain some hands-on. Rest of the 20% should go into reading the documentation. So just doing the course alone is not going to be sufficient a lot of times for your certification. So it's always better to go through documentation. And then now you have exhausted your 60% time. All that remains is the rest of the 40%. So for that, you basically have to go through a lot of practice exams. Now this is something that I've seen a lot of people miss because they think that, okay, I'm already good now, I've gone through course documentation, I would be good, I'll just give 1 or 2 exams and then just give the final certification. No, 40% of your time should be going into just giving practice exams. And when I mean giving practice exams, this doesn't only mean just giving exam and then finding out your score, but it also means going through each and every answer and their explanation to see if what you thought was correct or not. Doing this will give you a lot of idea on what kind of questions are being asked in the certification and what are the specific topics in which do you lack. Now let's take an example of AWS Solutions Architect certificate and how should you prepare for it. So for Solutions Architect course, I usually recommend them this course, which is the course by Stefan Marek on Udemy. Another alternative is also A Cloud Guru. You can pick any one of them. So 40% of your time should go into studying for this course. After that, 20% should go into documentation, and rest of the 20% you will also be able to see John Bonso practice exams. So for Solutions Architect, you can see he has a lot of practice exams, and they also give you the explanation of all the answers in detail. Now this same strategy applies whether you're studying for Snowflake, SnowPro Core or GCP Data Engineer. I'm going to link some of these courses down below which can help you get your certifications, but your high level strategy should pretty much be the same. Do you want to upskill yourself and switch into data science or data engineering? Then you should check out today's video sponsor, Praxis Business School. With a median salary of about 13.5 LPA in India, Praxis data engineers and scientists are placed in companies like Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, etc. Also, it's a weekend-only program, so you can learn from industry experts without actually having to quit your job. It's ranked number 1 amongst all PG data science courses by Analytics India magazine in 2021 with an average hike of 127%. If you want to get a lot of additional discounts, then feel free to use my link mentioned in the description and in the comment section while getting the courses. Now, let's get back to the video. Alright, so that was a lot of information. I'm going to let you digest it, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. If you post any questions for the next 2 hours of uploading this video, I will reply instantly. That doesn't mean if you post anything after 2 hours, I will not reply. I reply to all the comments, but it might take some time. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And if you find this video helpful, share it with as many people as possible. Have you given certifications or are you planning to give? What kind of strategy have you adopted so far? Do you book your exam date after or before preparing for your certification? Let's talk about it in the comment section below. And that's it from my side. See you guys next time.